Hello, I'm Leonardo Puglisi. It's Sunday, the 14th of August. You're watching 6 News. Our top stories tonight: fears a large outbreak of foot and mouth disease could cost Australia $80 billion. Livestock farmers growing increasingly alarmed as the disease spreads through Indonesia. Why have WA Labor MPs now accused lobby groups and the media of fueling a fear campaign? Also, fallout continues after Victorians Party, which aimed to run more than 100 candidates in the November state election and hold the balance of power, pulled out in a move labelled extraordinary. Social media accounts and its website now being removed. The man accused of carrying out a stabbing attack against author Salman Rushdie enters a not guilty plea in a New York court. And 6 News goes on the ground as the Ekka wraps up in Queensland after being put on pause for 2 years due to the COVID pandemic. Good evening. It's feared a large outbreak of foot and mouth disease could cost Australia $80 billion. Indonesian officials say they're aiming to control the disease by the end of the year, confirming it hasn't been eradicated in Bali amid growing concerns. State governments across the country are bolstering biosecurity measures as livestock farmers grow increasingly fearful of the highly contagious disease currently ripping through Indonesia. So why have WA Labor MPs accused lobby groups and the media of fueling a fear campaign? Chief Reporter Connor Fourcade is on the ground with the details.
Livestock farmers here at the Ekka have spoken of their fears of foot and mouth disease taking hold. The disease is currently ravaging livestock populations in the tourist hotspot of Bali, prompting a heightened level of concern from authorities here at home. A Senate committee inquiry into Australia's biosecurity has held its first public hearing. It will investigate whether enough was done in the early days of the response, while the government was in caretaker mode. The inquiry is expected to report back to the Senate in a month, as the federal government releases Australia's first national biosecurity strategy. State governments have also sprung into action, unveiling multi-million-dollar packages to bolster prevention and response. However, second-generation dairy farmer Teresa Beattie says the government isn't doing enough to stop an outbreak in Australia.
They should close the border to Indonesia for all live imports and exports. Once it's in your herd, you pretty much have lost your herd. The neighbours lose their herd, and it just spreads.
The disease is highly contagious. It isn't harmful to humans, but can persist on people's clothing and shoes, making events like the Ekka a potential hotbed for the virus. Queensland is home to nearly half of the nation's 24 million beef cattle.
Biosecurity advice is that the risk of FMD coming to the showgrounds is really not much greater than what it has been in prior years.
Foot and mouth disease is, according to Lawrence Smith from the University of Sydney, the most feared livestock disease in the world. It affects cloven-hoofed animals such as cattle, sheep, goats and pigs. Infected animals develop blisters on their feet and mouth, making it hard to move and eat. When foot and mouth disease tore through the UK in 2001, 6 million cattle had to be euthanised. Piles of livestock burnt in paddocks to halt the spread.
Very heartbreaking, considering you've put your livelihood into these animals, and the whole family has, and it's devastating.
Australia has been foot and mouth disease free for over a century, but now, for the first time since 1986, the disease is at our doorstep. A large outbreak is predicted to cost the nation $80 billion over 10 years. The federal government says the risk of an outbreak in Australia is less than 12%. Two WA Labor MPs believe lobby groups and the media have overblown that risk. A month ago, WA's Agriculture and Food Minister came under fire after saying that while an outbreak would be costly and unfortunate, it would not be catastrophic and might make beef and milk prices cheaper. Now another WA Labor MP, Darren West, has thrown their support behind Alana McTiernan, accusing the media and lobby groups of perpetrating a fear campaign.
Very insensitive. Obviously, they're people that want to see it happen.
Do you agree with comments made by two WA Labor MPs that foot and mouth disease is a fear campaign propagated by the media and lobby groups?
Look, I haven't seen those comments, but I know that our rural communities are taking this threat very, very seriously. I know the government is taking it very, very seriously because the livestock that are affected by foot and mouth are an enormous part of our economy.
To prevent an outbreak here at home, disinfectant mats and detector dogs are in place at airports. There are also calls for Australia to shut the border to Indonesia.
The Nationals say they need to reach out to women in their first federal council meeting since the federal election loss. Kate Hull, the party's federal president, said they need to be resetting, ensuring we are embracing particularly the women of our nation, according to the AAP. Party leader David Littleproud has accused the government of ignoring regional jobs as part of its upcoming Jobs Summit in early September, saying his party's made a pragmatic view to turn up and prosecute our case for regional Australia at the summit. The Greens will also be attending, while Liberal leader Peter Dutton will not. A new poll released late last night shows Labor has increased its lead over the coalition in Victoria by 1%, now sitting at 60.5% compared to 39.5%. Dan Andrews remains the preferred Premier with 66% compared to Matthew Guy's 34%, and a personal approval rating of 62.5%. However, both major parties have had their primary vote go down. The ALP down 3 to 40.5, the Coalition down 2, while the Greens rose by 2. Darren Hinch's Justice Party went up by 0.5%, and the UAP remained the same at 2%. Integrity was a big issue for respondents when it came to a potential third term for Andrews, according to Roy Morgan, who did the poll, while many respondents said that everything concerned them about a Matthew Guy-led government amid the ongoing donation scandal. In both cases, voters of the two major parties believed nothing concerned them. 104 candidates, that's how many the Victorians party was expected to run at the November state election. The self-described centrist party aimed to hold the balance of power in the event neither major party got 45 seats, a situation analysts believe could be possible with Labor losing more than 10 but the coalition not picking up enough for a majority. But now that's not going to happen, the party making the shock announcement to pull out due to, quote, limitations on new political parties raising campaign funding under Victoria's electoral laws. The move seeing them take down their social media accounts and their website and leaving an uncertain future for their candidates and their council seat. Reporter Lincoln Holmes has the details.
November 26, 2021, the Victorians Party launches 1 year before the state election, announcing plans to contest every seat. August 12, 2022, the party pulls out of the race. The party, formed by small business owners affected by COVID lockdowns, wanted to hold the balance of power after the election. They applied for registration with the Victorian Electoral Commission in January. They were registered in March.
Are you going to run candidates in every single Victorian seat?
Absolutely, Peter. We're hoping, there's 88 seats in the lower house and 40 in the upper house.
In June, the Herald Sun reported that they could win 4 seats off Labor, as well as 2 new seats, although there was concern in The Guardian about the party not having a clear set of policies. Then in July, The Age reported that the party was established by a former school teacher, deregistered after findings that he had sex with a student. The party stopped posting on Twitter and then changed its logo. The first sign something was seriously wrong behind the scenes came on Friday morning when their Twitter account was deactivated. Their Facebook page was also down within hours. Late on Friday night, the announcement was formally made. They would no longer run candidates after announcing about a dozen or so already. Their website, which didn't appear to be recently updated, taken down, with the party blaming limitations on new political parties raising campaign funding under Victoria's electoral laws as the reason for their decision. The party hasn't been deregistered yet, but that could possibly happen in the next few weeks. It is unclear what will happen to their candidates. Some have speculated they will no longer run at all, while others believe they could join new parties like the New Democrats and Angry Victorians Party. The future of their one council seat on the Moreland City Council is also unclear. Lincoln Holmes, 6 News.
Well, remember the exclusive 6 News brought you on Family First Victoria's battle with Family First Victoria? Tonight, we've got an update with Family First Victoria pulling out of the state election. Party founder Lisa Bentley has cited, quote, intimidation and harassment as the reason for the decision. She was planning to run in the Western Metropolitan region. The other Family First Victoria has so far not been registered with the Victorian Electoral Commission, but has applied and is expected to get across the line. Family Matters Australia has also applied for VEC registration. It remains to be seen whether they will have any issues with their name. Former Prime Minister John Howard has slammed Donald Trump's, quote, appalling and atrocious behaviour after the 2020 US presidential election. As reported by The Australian, Howard said that the former US president's, quote, atrocious behaviour after the 2020 election has surely made him unfit to return to the White House. He adds that it was dumbfounding to me, and I'm sure to many others, that the party, the Republicans, should have chosen him as its candidate in 2016. A former Liberal staffer and advocate for sexual assault survivors has told the ABC the release of a report in the workplace culture in the New South Wales Parliament, into workplace culture, was dehumanising and frustrating. Dania Maney said the report was handed down without survivors being present, and she's previously spoken about allegations of indecent assault by a colleague. The Broderick report revealed that 1 in 3 staff have experienced bullying or sexual harassment in the past 5 years, and 5 people, 3 men and 2 women, said they have been subjected to an attempted or actual sexual assault while at work. A number of ministers and MPs' offices were also considered hotspots for bullying. Premier Dominic Perrottet saying harassment and bullying is not tolerated. Officials in WA have reported another case of monkeypox in the state, bringing the total to 3. All cases are returned travellers not believed to be connected, and all are isolating at home. Authorities say the public should not be concerned. Campaigning continues tonight for the Fanny Bay by-election in the NT, which is now less than a week away. Labor, the Country Liberals and the Greens are all running, as are 3 independents. The by-election was triggered by the resignation of former Chief Minister Michael Gunner at the 2020 election. He retained the seat with a 2.9 swing away from him at a 2-party preferred level and 8.2% on the first preference basis. For a full by-election guide and a preview, head to SIXNewsAU.com right now. The man accused of carrying out a stabbing attack against author Salman Rushdie in New York has entered a not guilty plea overnight. 24-year-old Hadi Matar from New Jersey is accused of attacking Rushdie as he was being introduced at a lecture. It's reported Matar had bought a ticket in advance and carried a fake ID card, allegedly rushing on stage and stabbing the author multiple times before being tackled. It's feared that parts of England could remain officially in drought until next year. Devon and Cornwall, Solent and South Downs, Kent and South London, Herts and North London, East Anglica, Thames, Lincolnshire and Northamptonshire and the East Midlands are all officially under drought. As the heatwave continues across Europe, the Environmental Agency now says that could last into the new year. Firefighters in France are also still battling a wildfire which has forced thousands to evacuate, with the blaze in the country's southwest described by authorities as a monster. At least 1 person is dead and dozens injured after a stage collapsed during a music festival in Spain. Part of the main stage collapsed as a result of high winds at the Medusa Festival in Calera, near the city of Valencia, resulting in more than 30 people being taken to hospital. The remainder of the festival has been cancelled as a result. Back home now, and the Ekka is today wrapping up in Queensland after returning following a 2-year hiatus due to the COVID-19 pandemic. 6 News' very own Roman McKinnon went down to check it out.
The Ekka taking flight, so much to see and do. Today the Royal Queensland show wrapped up after 10 days and over 1,000 long days since the last. Record numbers for a positive bounce back year at the Ekka. Yesterday the Palaszczuk government announced $2 million in funding for Queensland shows and $150,000 into the Ekka.
And the other 128 show societies will share in the remainder of the $2 million. I know for many regional communities, the fact that they haven't had their shows the last couple of years have really taken away that opportunity to connect, to gather, to bring communities together. And we hope that with these grants, our show societies can get back up, running, put their shows on just like the Ekka have here.
The RNA's CEO, Brendan Christo, is happy with this turnout from Queenslanders, with record numbers across the week.
And all things considered, given the COVID spread that we had in pre-show, we're really happy with the way it's all gone. And it's just fantastic to be back this year after the 2-year break. And the vibe around the show has been brilliant. The exhibitors are happy. The competitive exhibitors who have come from the country have been really happy, and it's just great to see.
Slides, rides, bikes, and so much more. The Ekka wouldn't be the same without Dagwood dogs or strawberry sundaes. The petting zoo a hot favourite amongst the kids, and woodchop was a cut above. The cattle were also a sight to see, with animal judging and competitions daily, where the country meets the city after a long-awaited return.
Hundreds of thousands of Queenslanders packed the RNA showgrounds for the 10-day event. The most popular show bag was in short supply though, but Queenslanders did not miss out on the Ekka icon, the birdie beetle. It's not the only thing making waves at the Ekka! The slideshow alley! Wow! Is making a splash! Roman McKinnon, 6 News!
Taking a look at what's making news on 6NewsAU.com right now, and a new edition of Commonwealth Knowledge is out, taking a look at Aboriginals and Torres Strait Islanders in constitutional law, and a look at the Mabo case too. Also, everything you need to know about the Pembroke by-election in Tasmania, which was triggered by the resignation of a Labor MP, Labor, the Liberals, the Greens, Shooters, Fishers, Farmers, and an Independent, all set to contest. And on Spin Check, meet James Bond, the former ungrouped Independent in the Senate that wanted to vote out the Boomers, plus get a look at some of the hidden gems you may have missed from the Senate results from the May election. Don't forget to sign up to our newsletter, 6 News Now, for more original reporting. Link to do so on our website, 6NewsAU.com. Now, it's Ivan and Melly with what's coming up later tonight on WAMN News.
Thanks, Leo. Tonight on WAMN News, as daily cases continue to drop, should a state of emergency remain for the long term to deal with another wave of COVID? An exclusive Q&A with Dr. Andrew Miller.
Will Baston's mission, the Liberal candidate's quest to compete in WA's by-election as Labor pulls out of the race.
A university student's attempt to gate-crash the Premier's press conference has joined advocates for abortion rights.
David Jim Penman answers entrepreneurship questions from Perth kids, and later Dr. Mark Duncan Smith's comment. Join us tonight on the WMN News Facebook page and YouTube channel.
Alright, thanks both Harvin and Melly there. Now taking a look at tomorrow's weather forecast right across the country. Brisbane sunny, 21 degrees, partly cloudy, 18 in Sydney, 10 degrees in Canberra, a chance of showers in Melbourne, 14, similar conditions in Hobart, 12 degrees there. Adelaide wet weather expected, 13, 25 in Alice Springs, rain, 23 in Perth, and in Darwin a warm top of 32. Before we go tonight, recapping the top story here on 6 News this hour, and it's feared that a large outbreak of foot and mouth disease could cost Australia $80 billion. State governments across the country are bolstering biosecurity measures as livestock farmers grow increasingly alarmed. But WA Labor MPs have now accused lobby groups and the media of fueling a fear campaign as Indonesian authorities aim to control the disease. And just finally, another reminder about those by-elections coming up. There's actually quite a few that's happening. So we've got Fanny Bay on August 20, which is of course this coming Saturday. We'll have coverage on Spin Check on Thursday, and of course right throughout the weekend. Then you've got Pembroke in Tasmania on September 10. It's an interesting situation there because they have their upper house by-elections. It's a bit backwards compared to other states, but yeah, we'll have coverage of that. And then Northwest Central, we've finally gotten a date. That is September 17th. Of course, they're all on Saturday, so you can check out our coverage on our website right now. We've got that by-election section, so go on to latest news, drop down, you'll see by-elections, you'll see Pembroke, you'll see Northwest Central, you'll see Fanny Bay, and there'll be more, if any more come up. We hope they do. We love covering by-elections here, but yeah, you can stay tuned for coverage of that. And that is 6 News for this Sunday evening. You can stay up to date with all the latest headlines by heading to our website, 6NewsAU.com, and by following us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Lit. You search 6NewsAU to find us. Help keep us independent as well by donating just $4 a month, and you'll receive exclusive benefits. Patreon.com/6NewsAU. I'm Leonardo, Puglisi. Thanks for your company. Good night.